We no afraid, we no see no one where we afraid of. We no afraid, we no see no one where we afraid of. Yeah, this is Everton Blender. And it's all about the young police from Jamaica, seeing Young Police Channel. Big up yourself, Everton Blender said that. We no afraid, we no see no one where we afraid of. Blessed love, Rastafari.
Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police Channel. To our loyal viewers and subscribers, at the channel we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizens, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because it saves lives. That is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives on this channel. We at this channel aid criminals, their financiers, their supporters, enablers, and the likes with a passion, and we do not want them over here. Yes, let us repeat ourselves. We do not want any criminal supporters over here. Please, we do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes, or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you, the criminal supporters, enablers, financiers, and all the likes, to go to prison or madness. Let me repeat myself. We at the Jamaica Young Police Channel, we do not want the criminal supporters and their circle over here. We want you to go to prison or madden. Moving on to our video. Yeah, so if you're an immigrant living in America, and before you migrate to the United States of America, you watch documentary, movies and stuff like that. All kind of movies and all kind of documentary. You would think that the Americans are the smartest people in the world. Yes, based on how they portray American, and they tell you about the American dream and all kind of stuff like that. So fast forward 2025. So you're looking right now, you see a man raising, giving you the Nazi salute. His name is Elon Musk. Yeah man, Elon Musk is an African, not an American. He's not an American. He was not born in this country and none of his ancestors have any American lineage. Yeah, so he's an immigrant and he's the one that, he's the richest man on the planet according to them. But as time goes by, we'll see how this will play out. So Elon Musk now, he's pretty much the president of the United States of America, because the current president is just a figurehead because he was bought. If you're not corrupt, no one can corrupt you. And whether or not you want to believe it, America is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Yes. They know to use all form of terrorism against people, economic, physical, all kind of terrorism. Black people are the major recipient of all kind of terrorism. And what is happening in 2025 is a reminder, as Samuel L. Jackson says, back in the days when he was growing up in the 50s and the 60s and 70s. 2025 is the same thing. They're trying to regress the country and trying to turn it into a dictatorship. So we're going to see how this is going to happen. But just wait, and we'll tell you this, whether or not you want to believe it, anytime the bubble bursts, the same Republicans who are in Congress and the Senate, who have sided with the United States President Donald Trump against the police officers, I'm telling you, based on what I have seen and my prediction, they're going to appear dearly. January 6th, that was the beginning of their thing. The same people from January 6th, when their family start to feel what is happening, you're going to see the peaceful rally turn into something totally different. Yes, so Elon Musk, as we tell you, he's an African. As you know, the Canadians, they're about to take away his citizenship. And the Russians are more intelligent than white America. Yes. No immigrants from Africa could take over their country. No immigrants could take over Russia. None. So Vladimir Putin right now, he's just laughing at America and other countries in Europe because they know what is happening. That goes to show you that. So when America is talking about other countries that are most corrupt, unless they're not looking at themselves in the mirror, because what is happening right now, you know that to speak the truth in this world, it come with a cost. You understand? But I just say, you have to speak the truth or return the guilty. And we're not doing any with us, just giving our take. So Elon Musk, the African immigrant who outsmarted 300 million Americans, an African. That goes to show you, say, them say, when people dumb, take much to scam them. So once upon a time, America was a country that prided itself on democracy, sovereignty, and its ability to dictate the world's future. Today, a single African American have them cowering in fear, dictating their policies, controlling their speech, and single-handedly dragging them into chaos. Yeah, Elon Musk, the apartheid era South African, is running circles around 300 million Americans, and they don't even realize it. How is it that a nation that once put men on the moon now finds itself at the mercy of a man whose main hobby is trolling people on Twitter, sorry X, and pretending to be Tony Stark? How did the greatest country in the world let an immigrant infiltrate its industries, control its medias, and dominate its technology sector without so much as a fight? Simple. Americans are just not that bright. Let me repeat it. Americans are just not that bright. The land of low IQ. America is a home to a third of the world's population. Yes, America is home to a third of the world's population that somehow managed to rank near the bottom in global intelligence tests. You ever wonder why spelling bees are such a big deal in America? Because if little Timmy can spell cat without missing a letter, he's already a national treasure. The average white American, particularly those whose ancestry trace back to Eastern Europe, can barely read above third grade level. Let that sink in. Most of their ancestors were brought to America as farmers. The ones that you see on the TV, them have no teeth, they're dirty, and they will complain as if the people who are working in the federal government is like it was given because of DEI. No, it's because your IQ is low and you don't meet up to the standard. Even with people working in the federal government, if Donald Trump to apply for it, he would not even be qualified because his GPA is not up there either. So no wonder they don't care about Musk power. Most of them can't even read the terms of a service on the social media platform. And yet these same people will proudly chant, we are the greatest nation on earth. Greatest at what? Exactly? Obesity, failing infrastructure, producing politicians who can't locate Ukraine on a map, while voting to send them billions of dollars. Meanwhile, over in Russia, a place that Americans are told to eat the average citizen, can do complex mathematics in their head, master multiple languages, and actually read books without pictures. But in America, people get Nobel Prize for knowing basic multiplication. Why even have a Department of Education? Seriously, why does the United States even have a Department of Education? It's like installing air conditioning in a refrigerator. Completely pointless. At this point, 80% of Americans wouldn't notice if the whole system was shut down tomorrow. Most of their Congress members and senators can barely read a bill before signing it. And the ones who do take orders from the billionaires funding their campaigns. In Russia, politicians are patriots. They love their country and protect their nation from foreign control. Meanwhile, in America, politicians are career sellouts. auctioning off policies to the highest bidder, whether it's Elon Musk, China, or some Saudi prince with offshore bank account. Man, that is so sad to know that, that's how we see the world, you understand. So the billionaire puppeteers, let's be honest, America isn't run by elected officials. It's run by billionaire overlords who treat the government like a personal toy. And the biggest puppet master of them all, Elon Musk, the African immigrant who now control everything from free speech to space travel. You think Musk could pull this in Russia? Not a chance. Even if he tried, Putin would have him escorted out of the country faster than Twitter. All verification system disappear. But in America, the land of dumb and the land of the naive, he's king. He's king. Can you believe it? In America. America is the land of the dumb and the naive. Yes. And Elon Musk is king. He's the king in America. Yes. So, whether or not you like it, can you imagine that George Washington or Thomas Jefferson would think if they saw the USA today? These men fought wars, wrote constitutions, and built a nation, only for it to be handed over to a foreigner, tech bro, with a dodgy hairline. Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, and George H.W. Bush must be doing backflips in their graves. But hey, maybe it's karma. America spent decades telling the world it was the smartest, most advanced country, only to get outplayed by a single African immigrant. No military invasion, no coup, just one South African billionaire meme his way to the top. So what's next? At this rate, America might as well sell itself off to the highest bidder. Maybe Musk will rename the country of the United States of Telsa and start charging multi-subscription for democracy. Maybe introduce Twitter-based voting where the next president is chosen by who gets the most retweets. After all, it's not like Americans can read the Constitution anymore. The reality is Americans let this happen. They let their education system rot. Their politicians sell them out and their billionaires take over. Now they are stuck watching their country to be run into the ground by an immigrant from Africa. And the funniest part, they don't even realize it. We are telling that. So, as we continue the journey, so Elon Musk, the African immigrant who now controls America, Elon Musk, a man born and raised in South Africa, during the era of apartheid, has risen to dominate key aspects of American industries and public discourse. Yet the very country that prides itself on nationalism, border security, and protecting its sovereignty has allowed an immigrant to wield immense power, bending its people's law and institution to his will. For decades, Americans, particularly white Americans, have voiced their disdain for immigration, especially from African nations. Politicians and media figures have raged against border crossings, citing concerns about economic security, crime, and cultural erosion. But when Musk, a South African immigrant, stepped onto the scene, those same voices grow silent. Why? This is a man who violated US immigration laws, maneuvered through loopholes, and now dictates the future of technology, media, and even national policies. With his control over Twitter, now X, has monopolistic grip on space exploration and his influence over artificial intelligence and electric vehicles, I have never supported this man. Musk is reshaping the trajectory of a nation that once prided itself on democracy and fairness. If the situation were reversed, could an American immigrant enter Russia, break laws, and proceed to dictate the country's economic and technological future? The answer is a resounding no. Russia, like most serious nations, safeguard its sovereignty. No immigrant, African or otherwise, would be allowed to seize control over critical industries or wield unchecked influence over national affairs. Europeans and Russians whispers among themselves, America is no longer the land of the free, but the land of unchecked corruption. Wow. It's a nation that preaches democracy while enabling monopolies. A country that once feared outside control, but now bowed to a single man with foreign roots. Would the founding fathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, or James Madison, have allowed an immigrant to reach such heights of influence? Would former US presidents Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, or George H.W. Bush have watched in silence as an outsider amass power beyond their reach? The very idea would have been unthinkable. And yet, here we are. The once mighty United States now dances to the tune of an African-born billionaire, a man whose roots are not in the ideals of American freedom, but in the shadows of apartheid South Africa. The question remains, how did this happen and why? No one is stopping him. Why? Well, because, as I say, America is the land of the dumb, the land of the naive, and the American politicians are career sellouts. Yeah, these people, them have no patriotism in them. Money. How a man feel for sell him soul? I could not do that, period. Just look at the people them, and then you have some black people along with them. America is the self-proclaimed greatest nation in the world. Has become the playground for billionaires, the testing ground for corporate greed, and the ultimate social experiment in how easily an entire country can be manipulated by a single foreigner. Its politicians are not leaders, they are career sellouts, auctioning off their country to the highest bidder. They don't govern, they obey. They don't protect their people, they protect their bank accounts. Meanwhile, the average American, particularly white American, whose ancestry traces back to Eastern Europe, is too uneducated, too distracted, and too naive to realize what's happening. A country that once stood tall as a beacon of democracy now cower in fear of an African immigrant who run their media, space program, and AI development, all while trolling them for fun and social media. Russia would not allow this, China would not allow this, but America, they roll out the red carpet and hand over the keys. So what does that make America now? The land of the dumb, the land of the naive, the land where billionaire rules, and people cheer for their own downfall. And the punchline, they still think they are in control. As we tell you, America is the land of the dumb, the land of the naive, and the land of sellouts. Yeah, so right now we know that Vladimir Putin is supposed to be one of the happiest men in the world. Xi Jinping in China. So all of the people them that they have been telling the world are their enemies and they're corrupt. Now look who's talking. The world is now laughing at them because, they are the epitome of corruption. You understand? A man with no powers, a foreigner, an immigrant, own the United States of America, control it, and having politicians like Pretzel, man, a foreigner, threatening white people. Tell him that if you don't do what I tell you to do at my whim, I'm gonna primary you. These people are not patriots. They're sellouts. If you're a patriot to stand up for your country, it's not who's right, it's what is right. The first man to die for America was a black man named Christmas Attucks. A black man, first person to give their life for this republic. A black man. A black man never sell out to America. But look at the people. Well, you have a few now in Congress. Yes, and you have one of them, that his name is Tim Scott, a big rear admiral, pretending to be something that he's not. You have to understand, it seems like there's something down here in South Carolina. He and Lindsey Graham, these guys do not like punani. Or, what I'm saying, we're talking Jamaican language here. So, we are American democracy, just a fancy illusion. Politicians are glorified puppets, and voters think they are making a difference when they step into the booth every 4 years or 2 years. In reality, they are just choosing which billionaire gets to call the shots. Let's be real. When Americans vote, they are not electing leaders, they are selecting representatives for the ultra-rich who control the government like a high-stake poker game. Whether you vote red or blue, left or right, you are still voting for policies crafted in the private jet lounge of billionaires who don't know the price of gas, don't care if your healthcare bankrupts you, and certainly don't want you asking too many questions. Who really runs America? It's not the people. Yes, it's not the people. It's the billionaire funding both sides. They are the same people who tell the world that a man can be a woman, convince you that inflation is your fault for eating too many eggs, claims that a country with free speech must censor misinformation, translation, any truth they don't like. That's what them tell us about them, must censor misinformation. Unpick a Supreme Court judge, when asked to define a woman, said, I am not a biologist. It don't make any sense. You'd think that one of the most powerful judges in the country, tasked with interpreting the law, might have some basic knowledge of biology, but nope. Apparently, determining between the differences between a man and a woman requires a PhD and several peer-reviewed studies. Meanwhile, a 5-year-old with a coloring book and common sense could answer the question correctly. Chromosomes. Who are those? Once upon a time, science was about observable facts. Things like gravity, the water cycle, and basic human biology. Now, in modern America, science is whatever billionaire and Twitter activists decide it is. The same people who tells you trust the science are the same ones who will cancel you for saying that men have XY chromosomes and women have XX chromosomes. Because in today's America, feelings override facts, especially when those facts get in the way of an agenda. So what are Americans really voting for? When Americans vote or cast their ballots, they think they are voting for their future, for jobs, freedom, and prosperity. In reality, they are just choosing which billionaire-funded ideology will dominate the next 4 years. Will it be the billionaire who pretend to care about climate change while flying around in private jets? The billionaires who want open borders but live in gated mansions with 24-hour security? The billionaires who say capitalism is evil but charge $8 for a cup of coffee and sell activism and t-shirts? The billionaires who claim free speech is human rights but will ban you if you question the narrative? America, the only country where the rich get richer and the poor get cancelled. Not get poorer, cancelled. And at the end of the day, Americans aren't voting for policies. They are voting for their own oppression. They are picking which set of corporate overlords will sell them out to foreign interests, manipulate their economy, and convince them that saying Merry Christmas is somehow offensive. Meanwhile, other countries are watching and laughing. The Russians, the Chinese, and even some small island nations are scratching their heads, wondering how a country that put men on the moon now debate whether men can get pregnant. And the best part, Americans will do it again in 4 years, convinced that this time their vote really counts. Have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica Young Police Channel. Out.